Welcome aboard the Bitcoin Express. My name is Chase. Let's get to it. Does the price of Bitcoin actually matter for people to adopt it? And the answer is yes. Even though you'll hear many times, especially from Bitcoin maximalists, that the price doesn't matter. If it just goes lower and lower, I'll keep buying it. So this is the plan. It goes low, it goes high, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin is valuable, I'll keep buying it. But this is wrong. The reason why people or Bitcoin maximalists would say the price doesn't matter is because they expect the price to go low, not too low, and then they expect the price to eventually go up. But the reason why the price of Bitcoin matters so much is because the price symbolizes the belief in Bitcoin, in the use case of Bitcoin. And this is the same mechanism used for anything of value or any currency. The reason why we hold a certain fiat dollar valuable is because we believe in the government that backs it. And if you lose trust in the government, then that dollar loses its value or it can hyperinflate. And Bitcoin has been doing a good job of proving that people do believe in it. Although it seems super volatile and we went from 20K to 3K to 7K to 6K and 10K, and it keeps moving back and forth, every year the yearly low is higher and higher. So Bitcoin actually has been maintaining its value over the years. And the question that we focus on all the time is value leads to adoption, right? But it's actually the opposite that we need to focus on. Instead of focusing on the value leading to adoption, we need to focus on adoption leading to the value. It's a network effect. The more people that are actually using it, it has a use case, the more expensive or the more valuable Bitcoin will become. Now, the reason why people are using it are for a few reasons. They need to escape government corruption, cartels, and banking monopolies. But if you're living in a country such as America or some countries in Europe, this might not make any sense to you because you might not actually have a need for these services. Maybe you have a stable currency, you have access to banking services, you have a government that you trust. But it's important to remember that the United States is just about 4% of the world population. There's still the rest of over 90% of the world that needs Bitcoin to counter these problems, such as government corruption or banking monopolies. So, there are 1.7 billion people in the world that don't have access to a bank account. And this could be for many reasons. It could be because of a corrupt government or banking, or maybe they do have access, but when they hold their bank inside of those, when they hold their money with those banks, how do they trust them? How do they know their money won't be taken from them? And as we can see in this chart over here, most of the world does not trust their government. If you can see this chart in front of me, a majority of each country does not trust their government. And as I mentioned before, the value of a fiat dollar is backed by trust in the government. So of course, once that trust goes and once that government becomes corrupted, the fiat dollar loses its value. And this is when people start to move into something like Bitcoin, a decentralized cryptocurrency. And we've seen a lot of Bitcoin adoption happen in countries such as Venezuela and Argentina. In Venezuela, due to corruption, lacking government trust, the Venezuelan bolivar has experienced the highest rate of hyperinflation that we have ever seen in the history of the world. It is so high now that a Venezuelan bolivar is worth more as toilet paper. So it's more worth it to take your Venezuelan bolivar and use it as toilet paper than to actually gather it up and bring it to the store to buy real toilet paper. We also saw in 2019 that Argentina experienced a hyperinflation rate of over 50%. And over here again, we saw people flock towards cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. In Zimbabwe, their hyperinflation has been out of control for years, that they even have a $100 trillion bill, which is just absurd. And again, I think this is worth something like $50 or $80. I'm not exactly sure, but it's not worth a lot. And then most recently, we saw in Lebanon that they are experiencing hyperinflation, and the citizens of the country have declared the death of their currency. And we're seeing protesters on the street. We're seeing firebombing of banks and just major chaos. Again, people are moving towards something such as Bitcoin. There are many countries around the world and governments that are corrupt. People don't trust their governments, and these countries, these banks, these governments might not even allow them to do what they want with their money. There might be limits on how much they could spend or how much they could transfer outside of the country. So as you could see, removing countries such as America, which it's really just speculation when it comes to Bitcoin. We don't maybe need there's not a real use case for it in a country like America, just pure speculation. But most of the world has a real need or a real use case for a decentralized cryptocurrency. But to top everything off, right now, due to the crisis in the world, the pandemic, we are seeing the most money printed added to balance sheets of governments in the history of the world. We're talking trillions of dollars, multiple trillions of dollars. And people are starting to wonder, what is our money, whatever country you're in, what is our money? Is this just monopoly money that's being printed at will? Just even in a country such as America, where we do have banking services, we do have financial education, many people have access to it, and you could say, I guess, half of the country trusts the government. People are starting to wonder, with all of this money being printed, is my dollar, is my fiat dollar really going to hold its value? And this is where we see some speculation in countries like America move towards maybe an actual use case of hedging themselves or saving themselves against the possibility of hyperinflation in the future. So as you can see, the price of Bitcoin does matter. Right now, we're at 9,200 on the date of this video, but Bitcoin needs to stay within a range to prove that people still believe in it. Because again, it really is a belief system, just like anything else. Just like gold is a belief system, fiat dollars are a belief system. Really anything, even if you're buying a piece of art, it's a belief system on what the next person is willing to pay for it or if they're willing to accept it. So Bitcoin's price needs to stay within a range. And we don't want to go under the last year's yearly lows. So if Bitcoin goes to $6,000, $5,000, we'll probably be okay. But if Bitcoin in 2020 goes to, let's say, $1,000 or $2,000, it's not certain that we'll ever recover from that, because it really shows a real lack in belief of Bitcoin. But hopefully we never reach those levels. I hope that you found value in this video. If you have any questions, put them down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.